Tara Jane, thank you so much for joining us here for a good chat. That's all this is a good chat. Now, before we get into who you are as a person, I'm just going to give the Ursia audience a summary of what this interview is about. So Tara Jane moved over from wherever in South Africa, she's going to tell us in a minute, to South Australia. I don't know why she went to South Australia in the first place, but I'll get to those little bit of banter in a bit. And then she started something spectacular, really, a one-stop shop for everything an expat would need to get going, to get started. That is from housing to transport, all the way through to citizenship. I mean,
Yeah.
or whatever visa you need to hang around. So, look, I'm not going to be delving too much into things that I know nothing about. Tara, we want to know, who are you? Where do you come from? What brought you to Australia? What is your credit card number? Give us everything. Come on.
Give you a bit of detail. So
Yes.
I guess I'm just a regular kid that grew up in Johannesburg, South Africa for many years. Was fortunate to travel the world a bit with sport and with family and things like that. And I always love an adventure. So a couple of years ago, I thought to myself, when COVID struck, actually, I started to be able to work from anywhere. And I thought, well, why are we limited by where we stay? It actually doesn't matter where we stay. So I went on this journey to try to immigrate to Australia, of all places. I've got a lot of family here, and during COVID, I saw them all still having pretty much of a great time, and we were not. So that's where the idea sprung up to move to Australia. And I guess my story is a story of hope and a story of vastbyt, if you're Afrikaans, that idea of hanging in there and perseverance, and eventually, you can make your dreams come true. And that's really, I guess, how I feel, that my dreams have come true. And now I'm making new dreams and new ideas, and that's where MoveMates has sprung out of. Any more questions on that?
I think the only difference between our lockdown and yours is Dan Murphy's was open here. We could still go and buy beer. We didn't have to go and make it. So yeah, and we read the stories. I tried to stay up to date with what was going on back home, and yeah, I felt for my family, for my friends, but in some way or form they made it through it, and here we are.
Yes, I think South Africans are resilient, right? So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think resilience is something you need in an immigration journey. It's about your mindset. I think it's a lot of that. People mustn't think they're going, I did. I thought, oh, I'm going to move to Australia. I'm going to be there in 3 months. No, that was 4 years later.
Goodness.
4 years later. So I think there's a lot of things I learned along the way by myself, bumbling along this process. And I landed up in South Australia. People can read my tips and tricks on how to move Australia if they want to get my full journey on all the different visas that I tried and along this perseverance journey. But
So you tried a few, did you?
yes, about 6.
What? So which one brought you over?
So I ultimately was 44 years old, and there's an age thing. It's very much an age thing. When you turn
It's
45, you're kind
discrimination.
of too old. So, but it's not only 45. It's not the end of the world if you're older. And I think a lot of people also think, they've had a lot of my friends have maybe had children in South Africa and wanted to get them through university, and now they think they're too old to do it. But there are other ways and there are other options, and I think that's something important to note. But I was 44 and I had done a business visa that landed up being, I got an invite actually to come with a business expansion visa, and they changed the rules. So these things change all the time, and then you're uncertain. So I thought, I've got a marketing degree. I've got experience in marketing. Let me just try and do the marketing certification. And I became qualified with the Marketing Institute of Australia, and I did my skills assessment and I did all of that. When I was in the October, I submitted for my visa. So it took me sort of 9 months to do that skills process. Submitted in October. My birthday was 8 weeks later, where I turned 45. So I had 8 weeks after I submitted. And
I hear stories like that all the time. I'll kid you not. It's always like divine intervention and then it comes through. Anyway.
I call it divine intervention because it's
Absolutely.
path. You know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and it will happen when it's supposed to happen. So, you know, I was not meant to be in Australia 4 years ago, meant to be here now. So when I got here, I thought, like a lot of South Africans or people from overseas think, we've been invited for our skills that are in shortage in Australia. So when we get here, we expect it's going to get easy to find work. And then we realize it is not.
No. Well, look, let me interrupt you. I won't complain with how difficult it was because it wasn't. I'm a techie, is what they call me here. I was an IT manager or a network manager in the UK, which was sort of a top-end job, which I would be totally honest for, I wasn't really qualified for. I got it on merit. They were like, they gave me like a senior technician opportunity. I did well in it, and they gave me the opportunity to actually be to run the whole show. And I guess the experience that I got there got me several opportunities here.
Yeah, yes.
So I sort of had a few opportunities thrown at me, but it was tough in the sense that they try and rob you of salary. You,
Yes.
as the new person, don't know a thing. So
Yep.
I have this company offering 60,000 a year with super. I'm like, what does that mean? And then this company like 65 a year with super. What does it mean? And
What
then
is super? Please,
what
someone
the
tell
hell is
me.
super? Is like, am I now Clark Kent? And then a private Christian school gave me a better offer without super, meaning super is still being added afterwards. I'm like,
Afterwards.
you need to watch out for the wording there. Anyway,
Yes.
carry on.
Yes. So, you know, then I sort of, I'm still very fortunate in I've got my work in South Africa and my business and my team in South Africa and my clients who got used to working with me online during COVID. So to them, it didn't matter that I moved to Australia. So I still continue that work. I call it night shift.
They're
But
sitting there in their pajamas. They're like,
yes.
oh, we don't
Like
mind.
sometimes, guys, I'm very hungry. It's dinner time, and
Yeah.
then to go get some dinner. So
Oh, rubbish. All right.
I'm working night shift, but then I had time in the day, and I was applying for some contract positions. And I'm also techie, by the way. I'm in IT marketing. So
I don't
yes.
I don't speak IT after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Trust me. If
Okay,
anyone
well, we'll
asks
try
me
not
now
to
what I do for a living,
we'll try not to talk cloud computing or analytics or anything right now.
if anyone asks me now what I do for a living, I'm a plumber.
A plumber. So all the jobs for that kind of thing are in Sydney and where the more tech hubs are. So not in South Australia. South Australia is almost the equivalent of moving to the Garden Route in Cape Town. It's laid back, relaxed. It's all about tourism and entertainment and things like that. So for me to get the kind of high-tech marketing work that I had experience for, I struggled. So on top of that, Australia are wanting people to go back into the office a bit. So they were, oh, well, you can have this work if you're willing to travel to Sydney twice a week. I'm like, don't think so. I'll carry on working the night shift. And I got into learning a lot about AI and using AI for marketing applications and tools. And I thought, well, while I'm learning, I want a case study. So I figured, let me create this little business called MoveMates. I've just moved. I had a thing where I had all this time between when my visa was, when I got the invite and when my visa was granted was 9 to 10 months. So I had all this idle time that I didn't really use to my maximum capacity that I realized afterwards how I could have used it. In terms of when you get on the ground here to be up and running quicker in terms of a house, in terms of a car, in terms of understanding the local market, in terms of understanding the job market, in terms of doing some research, a lot of things you can actually do before you come to Australia. So I decided to start creating these little webinar talks, using my graphics tools I'd been learning with my AI courses, and I created the MoveMates portal, and I reached out to the trusted people that helped me along the way. So my immigration agents, the people that helped with the relocation, the moving. Even now I've bought a house in Australia after only being here 9 months. And that doesn't just happen. That happens because you meet the right people.
Right.
Yeah.
So stop there for a second. I'm eating chips.
Yes.
I've got my girls, they're in bed now. My son's in there somewhere, and they didn't give me a chance to have a snack. So I want to know how okay, first of all, on what visa are you on currently? Be honest.
Yes, I'm on a 491, which is a temporary skills visa for South Australia.
For how many years?
It's a 5-year visa.
And you managed to buy a house?
Yes, in 9 months.
Let's pause for a second. I need to process because I'm on a permanent residence and I'm struggling to buy a house. All right, so you better tell us everything.
And on top of it, I'm
Everyone's
self-employed.
ears are like, oor is gespits. We want to know, how on earth did you manage to get that over the line? Because it is truly bragging rights.
It was difficult. It required planning. So I met someone called Abby from Diamond Lending Solutions on one of the Facebook groups, and I thought, let me start following her. And she's actually going to be talking at the Immigration Summit that we're going to be holding on the 19th of October.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So I met her, and I also met wonderful people from AFM Financial Services. They are financial advisors and accountants. So, a lot of people don't want to go and spend money with a financial advisor or an accountant or whatever because they think it's going to cost them a lot of money. Well, let me tell you, the way they work, because they understand the system, they can optimize things for you. So because I was self-employed, and my husband as well, he works for a company that agreed to carry on working with him in Australia. So we actually set up a business, an Australian business. Okay, so we have our little Australian business, and we registered it properly. We registered it for GST with the financial accountant, and we managed that business really well. We invoiced our South African companies where we were doing our work as now contractors or consultants. So instead of getting them just to pay us as individuals, we actually set up a formal structure. We also then made ourselves employees. We set up our own superannuation funds and accounts. So we actually managed it 100% correctly. We liquidated all our assets in South Africa over, well, it took me 4 years to get here. I think I took 4 years to sell all my stuff. I literally sold everything in South Africa, absolutely everything, right down to my little mini fridge and my pan and pot and everything.
We did the same. We did it twice. So we sold everything when we moved from South Africa to the UK.
Okay.
And when we decided, okay, it's time to go elsewhere, and we decided on Australia, we put everything on Facebook Marketplace and we sold everything.
Yep.
It's just such a releasing experience. It's freedom. I mean, just coming over with your children and the suitcases, like 2 suitcases between, for each one of you. That's it. There's no stress, no worry, no car, no payments, no nothing. That's it. That's life. And then you start building again.
Exactly. So I saved a lot before I left. So I think advice to people, it's a 4-year journey. Start saving. If this is something you want to do, you need to save. You need to really be prudent with everything you do before you come. Downsize your house in South Africa. We all live in beautiful houses. If we did, we stayed in a flat in Cape Town for 2 years, and in between this transition, and we saved money. So I think that's an important tip. Really try. I know it's difficult for some people, but if you're going to immigrate, no, it's more difficult to save here than it is to save where you're from, where you know the environment and you know the expenses and you know all of those things.
No, I wouldn't say we saved much. I mean, we tried many times to save. I mean, we've saved enough to one point where we were trying to buy a house in South Africa, and I mean, we had no problem buying the house, but then I'm gonna call it Standard Bank screwed up the paperwork big time. They forward the application to the deciding office without any attachments,
Oh,
and weeks worth of paperwork just gone, disappeared. And we fought back on that, and we're like, it's probably God intervening there, because 3 months later we were on a plane on our way to London. So I was like, okay, yeah, we probably would have bought the house, sold it soon afterwards, because you can't it's hard
you're not
living
going to make
overseas.
money in property only being in it in a very short time.
No,
You've got to,
precisely, but it's pretty hard living overseas and then maintaining a life back home. It is pretty hard. You need to let go.
you need to.
The currency is
Go.
so different, so different. You just need to let go. I mean, if you're lucky, if you're fortunate, you can sustain both. And I know of people that does both. I surely can't.
No, me neither. So I decided I can't have feet in two places. So sell everything, save everything you can, move over with as much as possible as you can. Keep it in a good investment account, your savings, for a while. Start to earn an income in Australia. Then you start to say, okay, whether you do it like I did with my own business and my own salaries and my own all of that, or if you're an employed person, again, there is things, people are always saying it's expensive to live in Australia, or the cost of living. Yes, it's true. But if you start to look at your monthly budget, I don't know if you see this, but there's certain expenses we have in South Africa that just do not exist here. Like
Yeah,
we do
well,
not need to pay the alarm service company.
it's not just here. It's if you compare Australia with the UK as well. I've paid, I don't know what it is with the UK, but they overcharge on tax. Like it's income tax, it's HMRC, it's MOT, it's national insurance. Then it's mandatory tax on all vehicles. You're
Yep,
not allowed to climb inside a car if that car doesn't have insurance. I'm talking about proper insurance. In Australia, all those things are optional. In South Africa, all those things are optional.
yeah.
Look, you'll be an idiot to drive a car without insurance. Like, personally, that's sorry if I'm offending anyone, but
Unless it's one you've bought for $2,000 and you don't really mind if it.
precise. Then yeah, but still, if you're connecting with a $50,000 car, your insurance needs to be able to cough it up. And if you don't have insurance, you are in serious trouble. So the fact of the matter is, there's so much things that the UK enforced on us that we didn't see here. And we were like, okay, yes, cost of living is expensive. Certain things are expensive, more expensive than South Africa or even the UK per se. But at the end of the day, your income matches what you are spending.
Correct. Correct. So your tax brackets are lower than they were, for me anyway, than it was in South Africa or UK and that kind of thing. You don't have the high expenses of medical aid. Well, if you're not on a 491 visa here, and you have to have business work insurance or medical insurance, not like medical aid like South Africa, it's still a third of the cost of medical cover, private medical cover here, than what it was in South Africa. Even if you're on, because I started out with some visitors cover before I got onto the Medicare system and all of that. So the medical costs are less. You get better service. You can easily go to the public hospital. Your life insurance is like a fraction of the cost because your life is not at risk. Your house, you don't have to insure your household contents for theft. Who's going to jump in your window and steal it? We leave our door open. It's crazy, you know. So these things do not exist here.
Apologies. I need to quickly open that door because the cats.
Go get the cat.
No, the one cat wants to go out there. I don't want to come in.
So he's gone to fetch the cats. Talking about cats, a big expense is actually your animals that you need to bring over to Australia. So did this cat come with you, or did you acquire her?
Quiet then. Sorry.
So we were talking about how I got a house in 9 months, right?
So yes, it took us half an hour to get there, but
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the South Africans listening to this, especially the worship community, is going to want to hear how you've done it. Now, And with all due respect, get to the point.
To the point.
How
Have
did you
better
do it?
savings, have an income, understand what you can loan because you can, and
Mm,
then you put your objectives together and you do it.
mm.
The interest rates are much lower here. So whilst the houses prices are 4 or 5 times as much, the interest rates are much lower.
Okay.
So you see
So
it kind of balances out.
asking for a friend. What about that person that's he came to Australia, he didn't have anything. He got a good job though, and sorry, he not she managed to sort of secure a rental, didn't have any furniture, so they took out sort of a credit card to get a little bit of furniture, get stuff into the house, and now suddenly they've got a bit of debt. The debt wasn't enough, so they had to make a little small loan to get everything else sorted and sort of get a life. And now suddenly they're stuck with a credit card they're paying on a monthly basis, a loan they're paying on a monthly basis. How probable is it for them to then go and acquire a house loan as well? Not that you're an official financial advisor, but
Yes,
you
look,
know a lot of people. Come on.
I think try not to do that. In fact, I still can't get a credit card. They gave me a home loan, not a credit card. So try not to get yourself into debt.
You got a home loan, but you can't get a credit card.
Yes. Until my business is at least 12 months old, I'm not allowed to get a credit card.
Wow.
But a home loan is is an asset. They're giving you a loan on the house. They can always take the house away. They can't,
Yeah.
if they're giving you credit card, it's unsecured debt. So they can't, come and attach something for that money. And now credit is extremely expensive here. So like by all means, don't take if you're going to move here with nothing and you don't have cash and you don't do a loan, go onto these Facebook groups. There's so much stuff, free area groups. People literally give stuff away in Australia because it costs them money to dispose of an old fridge or an old
Yeah,
couch.
true.
Take that stuff, guys. Don't have pride. As South Africans, we have this pride. We don't want to take a hand-me-down thing.
Hmm.
Do it. I got shelves for my son's bedroom for free off Facebook Marketplace. When I was setting up the house, you
Don't
see,
get me started. Do you guys have hard rubbish in South Australia?
where they have council day, and then they come and pick up once
Yeah, yeah. So
often.
we've got hard rubbish. Well, not here where I'm staying now in Mornington. Where I stayed in the Frankston Council, when I was living in Morialek, you would like twice a year you got a hard rubbish like a week where you can stack everything that's big and bulky
On
up
the
on your front
pavement.
nature strip. And wow, when we landed, I think it was 3 weeks later, it was hard rubbish. It was walking through Makro.
Yes.
But everything's free.
No, you just go pick it up off the
So
sidewalk.
I bought a Jeep Cherokee, loads of space in the back and a basket on top. I was literally driving around just loading stuff in. Book cabinets, shelves, dressers, beds, everything that we needed to start a house. I took it and I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I will not be.
Exactly. Because do you know why? Every penny you save is a penny you can then say, okay, now I've got a little bit of a deposit
Mm,
and I've got this much salary. I can buy something. So here's an advice. If you can buy a 1-bedroom townhouse, but you're a family of 3,
mm,
buy the townhouse because that property in Australia is escalating. Let someone rent the townhouse and you are going to pay less rent for where you're staying.
mm.
And after 2 or 3 or maybe 5 years, you sell this townhouse and you buy your house. So that's a stepping stone. Don't think because, oh, I can't buy a house that my family can live in, I can't get into that property market, right?
Yeah.
That's how I did it in South Africa. I started off with a really little small property and then I sold that one, got a bigger one that I could then live in. Then, so when I did move to Australia, fortunately, I did have a decent deposit to be able to buy a house because I had saved. I had been prudent. I had come over here. I had picked up the free bookshelf. And, so when you do those things, you set yourself up, well, to be able to then, to do these things. But everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
I started somewhere with nothing. So does everybody. It's a matter of forward thinking, making a plan, and sticking to it, and you will achieve your goal.
Yeah. Well, well said. Well said. Now,
And if you've got debt, get rid of it.
it answers our questions, but saving it's just hard sometimes. But okay, park that idea. Now, I want you to jump to MoveMates. So
Yes,
you had time on your hands and you decided, you know what? I've got enough experience to use what I've learned, compile it into one system, and invite people to join me in delivering a service that's going to make this whole procedure easier for South Africans moving abroad or
exactly.
moving to Australia per se.
Anyone moving to Australia, it'd make it easier for them. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to be eating my chips and drinking my ginger ale. You tell me all about MoveMates. Come on, this is your moment.
This is my moment. Okay, so
And don't leave out the summit.
Don't leave out the summit. Okay, so MoveMates, we're running a summit, and this summit came up because I've, as I say, got a lot of trusted advisors, and a lot of things that I've found along the way were scams. People trying to sell your house that don't exist. People trying to sell stuff on Facebook for a deposit to deliver a couch that's actually not a couch, and you pay the deposit. I didn't do this, but I've heard of people that did, and it doesn't arrive, and so forth. So, and also various people online saying, "Oh, I'll help you with a visa," and they actually don't have the skills. So I've put together MoveMates to be a trusted, safe space where we all know each other. So everybody in MoveMates has been referred by either myself, because I've used them, or it's the person I've used referral. So that's how me and you met, because you know, I had worked with Robin, and Robin knew you, and she put me in contact with you, and this is how this whole connection came together. So it's actually a lot of people that are a trusted community and have referred each other and work with each other. So when people come to MoveMates, they know they're in a safe space, and they can trust the advice that's going to be given within this safe space by these experts. Because I'm not an expert, I'm just a person that did it and struggled. And I'm like, well, I know all this information. How can I help other people? So it was actually to help other people. I've got my core business, which is in marketing, and I've got the skills to develop these platforms and these virtual event platforms, which is what everybody will experience during the Immigration Summit, is that we can connect anywhere, we can be in chat rooms, we can chat to each other during that summit, we can ask questions of these experts. So we have the MoveMates portal where people can come and get some, you know, little my story basically on all the different things before you move, the visa processes, the in the process of moving part, what you can do before you come, as well as then the long settlement, you know, speaking to the mortgage broker about how to get a home loan on a temporary visa. So this is how MoveMates came about, and it's just grown from there, like this community of people and a wonderful group of people.
How many members? How many members at this stage?
Members, there are about 600 people that have subscribed to MoveMates at the moment. Since we launched it 2 months ago, and about 20 trusted advisors within the community, within the group. Yeah.
What's my role again?
And
community.
You know what? You are community, because at Ursia, you know, I found your app, and this is part of the long-term adjustment, is that you still want a bit of connection to home, to where you're from. And what you are doing is bringing South Africans all over, because it's not just Australia, all over the world, to say, you know, we're out there, we are making a difference in the world. And how can we come together in, like you're doing something now in Melbourne, right? A whole South African camp, and
oh yeah, next weekend, the Makiti at the Maze.
The Makiti, yes. So, and various things. So I can come and say, oh, who's in Adelaide? I can join up with them. We can have a braai, we can have a chat, or I can, you know, we like that, because you can see all South African events coming to our town. So that kind of gives us a little bit of connection still with where we're from and our roots.
Yeah.
And also that there's that you're not alone. I think a lot of people feel very alone in this journey. It's an emotional journey that you don't expect to be so emotional, and it really is. And I think your Ursia, it just gives people an okay, we Ursia, we're still South African.
Yeah.
We just Ursia.
Yeah, I mean, look, when and don't get me started because this is not my interview, it's yours. But when I remember my wife and I were sitting, we were like writing down a list of words, deciding on what are we going to call this app? Because I told her, and I decided I want to build this app. I know exactly how to build it. I know what I want in it. It's going to work. It's people gonna want to join it. And gosh, I can't even remember all the different words that we were choosing. And we were like having such a laugh, like, oh no, that's not gonna work. And then I looked at her, I'm like, we're here. She looked at me, she's like, we're here. Yes, yeah. And that was it. And because it's such a global word, even the English speaking South Africans know what it means.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, not my interview, yours.
So that's where you come in MoveMates, is that you're the one there that's connecting the South Africans. You know, our community is on MoveMates is about the tips and tricks to move here and to get here. Your community where we're building the Ursia group is people that are here many years, connecting still as South Africans, still feeling a piece of where, you know, their history. And I think, you know, it's actually quite an interesting thing. I started this advertising for the Immigration Summit last week, and I was quite surprised by some of the comments. Some people are like, yes, we want this, and they purchased a little ticket immediately. I've made the ticket it's really the price of a coffee and cake in Australia. And if you want to invest in yourself, you should buy a ticket. The reason there's a ticket is because it's on a virtual platform and there's bandwidth and there's hosting fees. So I need to cover the costs of this thing a little bit, right? So, you know, people are like, oh, she's a money grab. I'm like, no, dude, I'm trying to help you here. Like,
Did they actually say that? Did they actually call you a money grabber?
yes, $15 ticket. I mean, you can't even buy a coffee and a cake, and it's the cost of the hosting platform. But now
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna make so much money selling $15
It's like,
tickets.
yeah, people want to just expect that everything is for free. Now, look, I'm probably a bit biased in saying so because Ursia is free,
Free.
but yeah, it's eventually you do want to make a living out of your passion by helping people. You want in order to keep helping people, you want to make an income.
Exactly. So I'm using MoveMates also to promote my business, because I'm saying to companies, look at how I can build communities, look at how I can do advertising, look how I can do branding. So for me, it's a marketing program. So I'm investing in that to help people to say, okay, look what I can do technically. Look what I can do as a case study, right? From a marketing perspective, a really great case study. So, so really the objective for me is to help people and to cover my expenses so that, you know, I can carry on paying my new bond. So, all my debts.
It makes perfect sense. No judgment here.
So that was one comment. The other comment was, you're a traitor. You've left South Africa. We need your skills here too. Why do you go with?
Sorry, don't get me started. I had all the skills to serve my country to the best of my ability. I wasn't given the opportunity, so I'm sorry.
So exactly that. And then I found out, okay, it's a granny whose son and daughter are taking the grandchildren away, and she feels that they are, you know, doing this to be hurtful to her. And I think everybody, you know, we don't leave our families because we want to hurt them. And I think a lot of people struggle with this, you know, moving because of families. And I think I was very fortunate in that my grandparents are still alive in South Africa, 92 and 93. And bless them, they were the ones that are like, guys, you need to go to Australia. They used to live here in the 50s. And my uncle was born here. So I have a bit of roots in Australia as well. But they can't come, and they wish they could. But their health and their age, it's just impossible for them to come back to Australia. So, you know, I feel like they encouraged me, and it would be easy for them to be spiteful and say, no, stay here. We need you, because we were, you know, supporting them. But they didn't. They were like, go, we need you to go. We need to know where you are and that you're going to be safe and you're going to be having a, you know, future because we were struggling. We still got, I'm not saying people in South Africa don't have a future. I'm really praying that everybody stays safe and everybody can. I mean, I didn't leave because I didn't have a good life. I had a great life. I had a great life in South Africa. We all had a great life.
Yeah, I was pretty happy too.
Exactly. We were not happy. And, fortune was on my side. Nothing really terrible happened to me, but really terrible thing happened to people I know, very close people. So, you've got to like, am I going to be next? So I don't want to get into the sad, somber things, but, the point of the matter is when you move, you don't run away from something, because you can't run away from problems. If you've got problems, they're going to come with you. If you don't know how to budget or save in one country and you make debt, don't think you're going to run away from that and come to another country and now all of a sudden you're not going to make debt again. So you have to break habits when you move, and you have to say, okay, these habits I had, I can't run away from it. I'm going to just repeat the same pattern unless I look inside and I make a change and I look forward and take new steps. If there's something in your prior place that you are wanting to move from, right? So I think that's an important thing to think about. When you're moving, you are who you are. No matter where you go, you still got your habits, you still got all of those things. So don't think you're moving, and that was one of the comments. Oh, you running away from your problems. I'm not running away from my problems. My problems come with me.
Yeah, true.
So how do you learn to adapt in a new environment and make some changes so that your life can be better?
Yeah.
Because
And
just a place
you
won't
saw
make
the
it better.
opportunity in that, and you used your experience and the skills that you've learned on the way to give other South Africans that is willing to come abroad the same opportunities. That is remarkable, and that's the way that I see it. When Robin called me, says, "Listen, I'm in your neck of the woods. You want to go have a coffee?" We ended up going for lunch, and she told me all about you, and I was quite eager to meet you to see what it is you're doing, and I love it. And look, I'll be very honest. I had people calling me out of New Zealand saying, "Listen here, we love what you're doing. Now you need to do this. You need to incorporate people that's going to give home loans. You need to incorporate people that's going to give car loans." I'm like, that all sounds wonderful. And I'm sure I'll make loads of money out of it if I manage it correctly. But that's not what Ursia is about. Ursia is to cater for the South African that is struggling with the change, mental health, all those sorts of things, and to give them family away from family.
Exactly.
There will be someone to cater for all the other things in between. There will be. And I am very happy that you are the one to do so, or to at least put together the platform that's going to host the people that does it. And I've met some of those people through your online meetings. They are mixed. They South African, they Aussies, they Kiwis. It's pretty remarkable, all these different people giving these services. And I'm quite excited to see where it's going to go. I'm quite excited. Your website's amazing. Your entire structure, the portals, the video sections, the everything about it is pretty modern. It's amazing. I recommend everyone watching this video just go check it out. Even if you're done, you already moved, you got everything settled, you've eaten so many nails, you have made it, and you're here now. Just go have a peek, because the chances are that you're going to bump into someone that's going to need it is pretty good, and then you can recommend it.
And the great thing is actually the signing into the portal is free, and there's a lot of free resources in there. We just are going to have a platform for you to ask your questions, to come and actually speak to the lawyers, speak to the removalists in a real-time in-person environment at the Immigration Summit. So, please, even if you can't afford the $15, still sign up. Come and see.
I'm not laughing at anyone's not being able to afford it. I'm sorry. It's just because I was thinking $15. What can I buy with that? That is my kid's lunch order on a Friday.
You're right.
I can make sandwiches instead. I can afford a MoveMate Summit.
Yeah. And come in. The more people come, we're going to be able to chat to each other, have a nice interaction on the platform. It's a really great tool to talk and to be all in real time together. And it's a Saturday. so that people don't have to feel like they can, need to take off work or something like that from a South African perspective.
Is the Boks playing?
Saturday morning.
Is the Boks playing? Just tell me that.
19th of October, I hope not.
No, they're playing now and then the weekend after, and then they're only playing back in November.
November.
It's fine.
So
I'll be there.
Good, because you're going to come and chat to some people about connections overseas and how to have family away from family. And I think that's what Ursia does. It's wonderful. So, thank you for really incorporating me into your webinar or your podcast here, and also for your support, because together we're gonna help some others make it easier for them.
Buy me a house.
Buy a house. Okay, we'll do a house plan. Okay, we'll have a side discussion.
It's all good.
I'm gonna put you in touch with Abby. Actually, she's the secret.
Yes, I will. I actually thought about that. I will speak to Abby when I am ready.
When you're ready.
Not just yet.
But before you're ready, because what she did for me, I spoke to her 9 months ago and we did a plan.
Plan, right. Well, I heard the way that you manage your plan. Trust me, I can't. It's not gonna work. But look, I'm sure Abby will have scenarios for every sort of. We'll have a solution for every sort of scenario.
Exactly.
Tara,
thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for setting up with me with eating chips and my kids screaming in the background and the cat. It is one of these things about these interviews. They happen at awkward times. But at the end of the day, it's not just an interview, it's a chat. And that's all it is, a podcast, a good conversation between two grown-ups that has walked the walk.
Yes.
And there's a lot of South Africans out there that want to travel the same journey. And this is how they learn on what sort of obstacles they can avoid and what sort of opportunities they need to jump at.
Correct.
It is presented to them.
So 100%. I mean, my top advice is it's a journey. There's going to be obstacles. Don't give up. It took me 4 years. Might take you 5. It might take you 2 months, and then you're going to get a shock. You're going to have to do it quick. It's all different. As everybody is different, everybody's immigration journey is different, and it happens at different times and in many different ways. So good luck to everybody that's on the journey. We hope you'll join our immigration summits and come and share with us, and we can learn a bit about you and help you along your way. I think that's the main thing is our community of experts are going to be there. We look forward to hosting everybody.
There you have it. Tara, thank you for your time. I'm going to go to bed. My wife's out to the movies, so I'll...
Oh, I've got another meeting. It's pinging me. I better get on. Oh. Night shift.
Enjoy. Have fun. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.